starting in the year 2000, Donald Trump didn't pay taxes for 10 out of 15 different years. How did he do that? How are the other wealthy people on this planet not paying taxes? My name is Kris Krohn, and in today's video, we're gonna explore how you can minimize your taxes and potentially stop paying taxes altogether. For the first 7 years that I became a real estate investor, I didn't pay taxes. And today I wanna explore how that actually happened, and I wanna help you understand a lot of the tax loopholes that are, by the way, legal and totally above board that most people aren't educated on. Today, I also want to explore how many homes you'd have to own to potentially never pay taxes again. You ready? All right, in this video, we're gonna talk about my buddy Eric, who earns $122,000 a year as an engineer. And real estate is kind of not his jam, but because of his tax situation, he decided to explore it. Eric is looking at buying this particular investment property. It's out of state, it's in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's for sale for $335,000. And he's looking at using his 401k and IRA to buy it. And you might be thinking, why would Eric tap into his retirement to buy real estate? Well, this property is projected to produce a 30.49% annual ROI. His 401k on the 20-year average is producing 4.2%. His IRA might be doing a little better than that, but overall, there's a huge difference between his potential ROI in real estate versus his retirement accounts. And here's the question: what will the financial impact be on Eric's situation? Well, let's take a look at some of the basics. When he buys the house, he's gonna rent it for $1,600 a month, but his mortgage is gonna be $1,000 a month, which means there's a positive cash flow of $600 left over every single month. But he has about $200 worth of expenses every month that go to property managers and the people that are taking care of the property, so he's only netting about $400 a month. Well, $400 a month at 12 months is going to produce around $4,800 a year of positive cash flow. And these kind of homes usually rent for 2, 3, or 4 years at a time, so he doesn't have to worry about annual turnover. Okay, so if Eric buys this house, his financial position is going to be improved every year with $4,800 extra dollars in his bank account. But where does the tax benefit come from? I mean, Eric's making more money. He should pay taxes on that $4,800, right? Well, not so. The government actually allows Eric, you, me, everyone who buys a property to write it off over 27.5 years. So since this property is being purchased for $335,000, if we divide it by 27.5 years, that means that every year he picks up a $12,181 annual write-off. Well, remember the $4,800 a month of annual positive cash flow? We're gonna take that $12,000 write-off, we're gonna subtract the $4,800, and there's $7,382 left over. What does this mean? It means that Eric's $4,800 of annual cash flow is tax-free. And by the way, if you were to buy any type of single-family home for under $500,000 and rent it out, whatever positive cash flow you get on it, because of depreciation, is likely going to be completely tax-free. And in this situation, there's also $7,382 left over that is gonna go against Eric's income, and it's gonna lower it by that amount. In other words, his income is no longer $122,000 a year as an engineer. He's gonna take the remainder $7,382 write-off, and that's actually gonna drop his income to $114,618. So understand this: every investment property that you buy increases your income in the form of tax-free positive cash flow, but it also simultaneously reduces your taxable income. This begs the question: if Eric were to just buy more homes like this, how many would he need to buy potentially to stop paying taxes altogether? Well, I pulled this right off the internet. If you are married, filing jointly, and you make less than $31,000 a year, there's a strong likelihood that you're not gonna owe anything in taxes because of all of the other write-offs that exist. And Eric's income puts him in a federal tax bracket of 24%, but because he lives in California, he also has 7% of income tax. 24 plus 7, that's a total of 31%, which means that the government and taxes are Eric's largest bill, totaling $37,820. Well, let's model out how many homes that Eric would need to buy if he wanted to eliminate his taxes. Let's just assume, first of all, that Eric produces an average of $5,000 of tax-free positive cash flow on every property. And let's also say that there's $12,000 a year depreciation. The first $5,000 will go against the positive cash flow, and that will leave $7,000 remaining to go against his income. If Eric buys 13 homes and produces $5,000 of positive cash flow per home per year, that's $65,000 of new income to Eric's situation. So as an engineer, he might be making $122,000 a year, but technically he's making $65,000 more on top of that by owning these 13 homes. But In addition, these 13 homes each have a remaining $7,000 deduction, which produces a total of $91,000 of additional write-offs against his income. So here's the math. $91,000 of write-offs against his income of $122,000 a year puts him at $31,000, and basically Eric and his family fall below that taxable situation. Here's the bottom line. Eric's income from his job of $122,000 plus his new real estate income of $65,000 a year puts his new annual income in total at $187,000 a year. He should be paying a lot more in taxes, but on paper, to the government, as he files his taxes, legally and appropriately, just the way you and I can, it looks like on paper he only makes $31,000 a year and hence falls out of that tax situation. Now here's the irony. How much tax should Eric be paying on his new income of $187,000? Well, his new federal tax bracket would be 32%, not 24%. We add the 7% for state tax, he's now at 39%. And 39% on $187,000 is $72,930. In other words, Eric is saving almost $73,000 a year because he bought 13 houses that are actually making him $65,000 more a year. The crazy thing is that with all of those savings, Eric could literally buy a property every single year, reduce his tax situation more, if that's even possible, continue increasing his income, and put him in a situation years down the road where he can make millions of dollars. I'm telling you right now that if this works for Eric, who's an engineer, if this works for me when I was a dumb college kid just starting a portfolio and making very little money in my career, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna work for you as well. And at the end of the day, it's definitely not about avoiding taxes. I do believe very much that we should give the government their fair share of taxes, but they've given you all of these loopholes. And it's not that they're trying to say pay less in taxes. What they're really saying is if you help us provide housing to Americans, or in other words, as you're helping us build out our country's infrastructure, we're gonna give you tax benefits for doing that. And that's really what this is. This is about being smart with your money. And the truth is most people aren't. In Eric's situation, his income is going up, his taxable income is going way down, and you can do the exact same thing. And if you're curious what that looks like, I'd like to offer you a free gift. I call it a free game plan. It's where I, a multimillionaire, through one of my certified coaches, steps in your shoes and basically says, hey, if I were you and I wanted to lower my taxes, but I wanted to increase my income, and I wanted a game plan for retiring with millions of dollars, click the link below, fill out your information, and that's the gift that I want to give you for free. I'm going to give you a new perspective. It's going to be fresh. It's definitely going to be different than Dave Ramsey. It's going to be different than what your friends and family and parents have been telling you. It's going to be the rare advice that you find with millionaires that are really good at multiplying this stuff. So if you'd like to take me up on my free offer for a free game plan, click the link below and let me get you going on that right now. Okay, Kris, but I'm not like Eric. I'm not an engineer. I don't have a 401k. I don't have an IRA, so I probably couldn't do this, right? Well, check it out. If you own a home, you probably have some equity in it. And I wonder if nobody's told you that there are 5 simple steps for pulling that equity out of your home and putting it in other properties to multiply your wealth. And if you'd like to see what that looks like, click right here. Let me show you how.